Alright, welcome back again to Steve's Vintage Model Builds. We're winding down the year here. Thanks for everybody who stopped in for the live chats on my year-end review, 2023 review, and stash shows. They're there in 3 parts. For those who didn't have a chance to check them out, those who joined in had a lot of fun, and I know I had a lot of fun making the videos. So I think you'll find a lot of interesting and helpful information. So today's the Friday before Christmas, December 22nd. And, you know, it's a busy time for everybody. And unfortunately for some too, it's a difficult and lonely time. So, not to wax too poetic or romantic about it, but our hobby of plastic modeling is very therapeutic in a lot of ways. It helps to fill time, helps to build skills, build pride, build confidence, all sorts of things that are really good. And the other thing I want to say is, in all my videos, I mention various different people, and you know, I have from time to time singled a couple people out, Peter Oxley and Zinzan Scale Modeling. There are others too, but those have both been particularly inspirational and helpful in supporting me, and in many ways helping me to develop my skills. If you haven't seen my videos before, I just got back into the hobby. I'm 62 now. I just got back into the hobby this past July. And although I built a lot of kits when I was a teenager, I hadn't done anything for years and years until I started building the structures and the model kits for the model railroad. Yeah, the model railroad's kind of on the back burner. One of the big reasons is that I found I enjoyed building the kits much more than building the model railroad. So it's set up in the workshop of the guy next door. He's got plenty of room there, wasn't using it anyways. And, you know, it's heated and has electricity, all that kind of stuff. So it's really easy just for me to go over there, pull off the tarp, and run the trains for a bit. But I'm not really actively building the railroad any longer. I built the kits I wanted to, and that's another reason why I, start to move along. Back to the community. After singling those two out, I have to say, for the vast majority, and I mean like 99.999% of the people out there, they're all good people. Very supportive, very helpful. Everybody has their own way of looking at the hobby. Some people are super crazy over detail. Some people like me, they just want a nice kit that isn't too difficult to assemble, but that you can enjoy using your fingers and use whatever artistic skills you have or are able to develop to paint and decorate them. No secret here, and we'll find out again today. I've always been a huge fan of Tamiya, particularly in that regard. You can always count on Tamiya for a great model kit. And the older kits, some people criticize. I was watching Peter Oxley's year-end. He did a 2-part video on Tamiya. They're a huge manufacturer. They've been around for basically since the end of World War II. And they really have set the standard for the industry. I'm not saying they're the best. There's plenty of companies out there that make beautiful, wonderful kits. But a lot of the Tamiya kits, especially the older ones, which we'll talk about later, are excellent if you're just getting started out. It's a great community, and it's a lot more than just getting together and talking shop, although that's a big part of it. People actually do care out there, and I'm not sure when this video is going to air. Probably be sometime over the holidays after Christmas, when people have been busy, a lot going on, and so I hope some people will take some time to sit down, watch this video and some of my other videos. I'm approaching 200 subscribers, which is totally awesome. I think that's fabulous. I don't do this for subscribers. I don't do it for views, although I appreciate everybody's time and appreciate all the comments I get, both supportive, informative, and sometimes even critical. I don't mind criticism. Criticism is fine, but let's try and keep it respectful. One of my things is trying to get younger people into the hobby, which is a very difficult thing. They really don't seem to be interested in this kind of stuff. But if you do know a young person who might enjoy it, do what you can to get them into it. It doesn't have to be really expensive. You can get started on your first model kit, glues and paints if you want, for well under $50 easily, depending on what kind of kit you select. So both the kits we're going to look at today are Tamiya kits, and they both cost about $40. The Mustang was just about $40.12, and the Corsair was $42 and change. No, other way around. Corsair was $40.12, and the Mustang was $42. So you can judge for yourself whether those are good values. Both of these kits, I haven't done a review or unboxing, although I did show them as part of the year-end review. Both of these were tooled in 1995 with new tools around the same time. New parts around the same time. New decals around 1998. Once we get into it, I'll give exact dates on the actual kit. Just because it was new parts in '96, that doesn't mean that the parts you get in the kit today have been sitting around since 1996. That just means that the parts were new back then. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the North American P-51 Mustang. Now, along with the Spitfire, the Hawker Hurricane, Mitsubishi Zero, and Messerschmitt Bf-109, the P-51 Mustang was probably one of the most famous fighter aircraft of World War II, and it did a lot to bring the Allies to victory in the skies over Europe. It was the first long-range fighter that was able to accompany the bombers as they penetrated further and further into Europe and eventually into Germany. And it really spelled the end for the Luftwaffe. So we'll take a look here. I've opened this before. It didn't come in cellophane wrap or plastic wrap, shrink wrap, whatever you want to call it. You can see the tape marks here. This is classic Tamiya. They do seal up some kits, but for the most part, they stick with the tape. No problems there at all. It's a 1/148 scale, and the usual Tamiya ready-to-assemble precision model kit. I was starting to say about Peter Oxley there, and one criticism, if you want to call it that, on Tamiya is, some people derisively call them shake and bake kits. You take the parts out of the bag, you cut them off the sprues, you throw in paint and glue, put the box lid back on, shake it up, and pour it out, and you've got a completed kit. That's not really fair. As I said, there's you know, it takes all kinds, and there's all sorts of different. One of the great things about our hobby is that you can make it what you want, and there's some real sticklers for accuracy and detail out there, which you pay for. You pay for accuracy and detail. The biggest problems with a lot of manufacturers is, you know, they say it's a certain scale, but it's not. They mess up on the scale, and that's the worst thing. You'll never get that with Tamiya, though. Right? Tamiya, they're always accurate to scale. And yes, some people may think they're overly easy to assemble. At the same time, they're very relaxing. The parts are tooled and engineered beautifully, and they go together great. So no fuss, no muss. And you know, you can also do what you want with it. Now, here, this one's a perfect example. I don't know if you can see. Can you see all the rivets there? On the real P-51 Mustangs, they were all puttied over. The surface of the aircraft, both the fuselage and the wings, was absolutely smooth. But for various reasons, Tamiya's put the rivets on, and I suppose if you really want to, you can putty them over and sand them down, or whatever you do, and to give it that realistic feel. Another thing I always say, and this is especially true of Tamiya, is just because something's old doesn't mean it's not good. As a matter of fact, some of the best kits Tamiya ever put out, or some of the best kits ever, were from the 70s and 80s. And then things kind of just settled in a little bit. And then starting in the 90s, along with these two, they really upped their game again and expanded their catalog. Okay, so yeah, this is what you get. A nice box art, as always. It's signed. Hard to say who signed it. It looks like it might be a Japanese signature. And as you'd expect. We got nice profile here. And overview and view from the bottom. And they give you different decal styles. The box information: wingspan 236 millimeters, the fuselage 205 millimeters. So it's nice they put that information on there, give you an idea of how much shelf space it's going to take. And here we've got another iteration of paint scheme, and there are different fighter squadrons. First one was T.J. Christian, 375th Fighter Squadron, and this one is L.K. Clarkson, 362nd Fighter Squadron. Bit of trivia before we even get into it, and I mentioned this before as part of the year-end review and stash show. So for the real history buffs here, you'll see here North American P-51D Mustang 8th Air Force. And when you hear 8th Air Force, most people think of the bombers bombing over Europe and Germany. To back up a bit, at the beginning of the war, all of the, with the exception of the Navy, and which included the Marines, it was the United States Army Air Forces. Everything was under jurisdiction of the Army, and each of those air forces consisted of a bomber command and a fighter command. There was the 8th Air Force and 9th Air Force based in the United Kingdom, and the 12th Air Force based in Italy after 1943. So in late 1943, actually I guess it was early 1944, as part of a larger reorganization in preparation for D-Day and the eventual conquest of Germany and defeat of the Nazis, things were reorganized, and they ceased to be part of the United States Army Air Forces, although the United States Air Force wouldn't come along until much later. And they became the 8th Air Force with a unified fighter and bomber command, the 9th Air Force with unified fighter and bomber command, and the 12th Air Force with unified fighter and bomber command. So that's why here you see that this beautiful fighter aircraft was considered part of the 8th Air Force. Still under the United States Army Air Forces, but they had been kind of severed off. And as I said, eventually everything was moved over to the United States Air Force. Okay, so let's take a look. Take a look inside here. Some people do instructions first. I always do instructions last. So we'll set that aside. We're going to do both these kits here because they're not super complicated kits, and it won't take long to go through them. And so we'll start off here with the famous Tamiya staples. Nobody understands why Tamiya still uses staples, but they do. And be careful inside because we've got some little spacers here. They are in a separate bag though. And this is what you get with a Tamiya kit. I mean, it's flawless. These clear parts are flawless. There's no flash, even on the smaller parts. Got a couple of sights here. And the canopies are absolutely perfect. And this looks like you have the option of open or close canopy, which is always nice. And here I've already opened this. Take care of the decals after. Excuse me. And here we have the main fuselage. Very nice panel lines. You know, we already discussed the rivets. It's great for the rivet counters, though. You know, they don't have to guess about how many rivets were there before they putty them over. Just teasing, guys. And one thing that's really nice about this is, you know, that you've got the cockpit tub here is all one piece. And then you've got the seat. You've got a control panel here that's nicely detailed. A little simplistic, but still nicely detailed. And we've got the wheels. You can see the tire tracks. They're in two pieces, easily decorated. The drop tanks, spinner, propellers. Everything just lovely. With this kit too, as with most of them, you get the Tamiya Tech Tips. If you're just starting out or you're a novice modeler, this gives you a lot of tips on how to use the tools, how to trim things, tools you're going to need, all sorts of different things. And this bag I haven't opened yet. So we'll open her up and take a look at the insides. Alright, so this is nice. You get a seated figure. A lot of kits don't include a figure anymore, including Tamiya. It looks like there's an additional piece here. Again, nice details, nice panel lines, no flash. Very nice detail on the rear wheel there. So there you go. Go in there. And with this you get two sets of decals. I guess one set of decals and one set of stencils. Here's all the main markings, all very distinctive. One criticism people have about Tamiya decals is they tend to be kind of thick, and they don't settle in as softly into some of the raised and recessed details as well as they might. Well, that really only applies to one or two of the kits. Most of them, these are just perfect for. And so, you know, you've got stencils here if you want to do your own stars and stuff. Different markings. You know, they've got the kill count here. Sorry, am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Anyway, well, I said it. So yeah, these are the stencils, and you've got different choices. You've got Nookie Lookie, or what is this? What does it say? Nookie Bookie 4, Lou 4, Petey the Second, and you've got pilot names, different squadron insignia, and so forth. So yeah, two sets of decals. The thing I really like about the Tamiya decals is they go on really easily. And, you know, if you use microset and microsol, or the equivalent of those things, 9 times out of 10 they're going to settle in just perfectly into your model. So, excuse me. All right, so into the instructions we get a nice picture of the completed and painted model. As always with Tamiya, they give you a nice write-up on the service history and so forth. I'll read just a bit of it. In April 1940, drawings were sketched in a New York City hotel room for a new fighter aircraft for the British Purchasing Commission. A lot of people don't know that. It was originally designed for the British Air Force, the Royal Air Force. This fighter, the North American NA-73X, became one of the best fighter aircraft in the U.S. Army Air Force during World War II and is known as the P-51 Mustang. Of the several variations of this famous fighter, the P-51D is generally accepted as the definitive Mustang and was the first production version with the bubble canopy. More D model Mustangs were built than all other Mustang variants combined, with a total of 9,603 coming off production lines. 45 squadrons of the famed U.S. 8th Air Force stationed in England were equipped with the P-51D, which could now escort and protect the heavy bombers all the way to and from targets on the European continent. There were several major changes that set the D apart from earlier Mustangs. One was a change from 4 50 caliber machine guns to 6, 3 in each wing. Another was to mount the guns upright, which helped to eliminate a jamming tendency that occurred in the 4-gun system. Ammunition was increased to 400 rounds per inboard gun and 270 rounds for each of the other 4. Underwing pylons were strengthened to carry the 110 or 165 gallon auxiliary drop tanks or a 1,000-pound bomb. The P-51 Mustangs went on to fight in the later Korean conflict, and it last flew combat in 1956 in the deserts of the Middle East, when Israel used Spitfires, Messerschmitts, and Mustangs together in their War of Independence and other conflicts. Okay, so we'll open them up. It's all fold out here. As with most aircraft, the standard Tamiya instructions gives you the tools you need, etc., etc. They give you the details on putting the cockpit together, painting of the instrument panel, detailed paint instructions for the pilot. Of course, you don't have to have the pilot in. Putting together the fuselage. There's no photo etch parts here. There's no internal engine, which doesn't bother me that much. But you get nicely detailed exhausts, and then everything fits. Da-da-da-da. Putting on the top of the wings, the tail planes. Excuse me. Everything that goes underneath. Landing gear, and I'm sure you have the option up or down. Final assembly of the prop and the canopies. And again, you have the option of open or closed. And then it gives you the 2 different paint and decaling schemes. Actually 3. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, I said at the start I was going to do both these kits in a single one, but I changed my mind. I'm allowed. And I'm going to do it as 2 separate videos on the same playlist. So now we get down to rating this kit. And there's a video for how I rate a kit. And I'll also put up a card. I'm not sure if the cards I put up work. I don't know. I'm such an idiot when it comes to the technical stuff. Anyways, okay, so but basically it's 10 standard points, 2 points for packaging, 2 points for sprues, 3 points for parts, and 3 points for instructions. There's a quarter point bonus for each category for any wow factor. And also up to one point total for value. Okay, as far as packaging goes, the external packaging it arrived in, it came from Amazon. It was fine. There's a couple little creases here. Things got bashed up a little bit. So that's 1.75. And on the sprues were perfect. Everything was fine. No complaints whatsoever. So that's a full 2. Parts, quality of plastic, excellent. as you'd expect from Tamiya. And definitely an extra quarter point for those clear parts. They're exquisite. They're absolutely perfect. So that goes for 3 1/4. And there were no warped or broken parts. Decals are nice. Extra quarter point for 2 sets of decals and stencils. So that's a total of 3.5 there. And the instructions, while they don't come in color, they're all in black and white. You do get nice color depictions of the three different kinds. So, but I'm still going to ding them a quarter point on that. So that's 2.75. As far as value goes, I'm going to give that a half a point. It's a fairly simple kit, but you still get plenty of hours of enjoyment out of it, and very reasonably priced, around $40. Okay, so that brings us to a total of 10 out of 12, which is very respectable, especially considering that a lot of those are extra bonus points. So if you find yourself with some cash gift after Christmas, or a gift card from Amazon, definitely take a look at this kit if you're interested. 1/48 is a great scale. A lot of manufacturers do 135, 132, especially 132 for aircraft, and they're kind of big. But you know, if you have big fingers, or you like more detail, the larger kits are more expensive, but it might be the way to go. But this is very reasonable. You get plenty of hours of enjoyment out of it. Alright, so that's it for this video. As I said, I'm going to put both of these together and release them at the same time. And so I hope when you're after you're digesting your Christmas dinner, or on Boxing Day when not much else is going on, and you don't really, all the women folk go out shopping while you're just hanging out at home, and you know, take some time to have a view. I really appreciate it, and thanks again to everyone who does watch. Thanks to all my subscribers, and have a safe and happy Christmas.